My life at the petrol station. Shoplifting, fights, police turning up. There was so much that went on at that petrol station. I thought it's a perfect time to talk about it and basically just document for myself what life was like working at the petrol station. What I love so much about that job is that no 2 days were the same. I had absolutely no idea what I was walking into when I started my shift at 2 p.m. and I had no idea what story I'd come back with when I finished my shift at 11 p.m. But all I knew is that something was going to happen and I could never put my finger on it. When I first came to the UK, I had no qualifications whatsoever. I'd literally just finished school. I had equivalent to my A-levels, which in South Africa we call matric. And that was it. I didn't really start working at a young age. So I came in and I had absolutely no experience whatsoever. Basically, the petrol station at the time was owned by the same company as a store in the village. So they were both advertising jobs. And I basically just clicked the wrong link. And instead of applying for the store, which would have been great, I applied for a job at the petrol station. And I didn't realize until they told me I had an interview, and the interview was at the petrol station. And I was like, oh, that's weird because like I've applied for the store. Winston, buddy. This is Winston, everyone. You can't see him. Okay, let's go feed Winston. Hold on. Okay, had to feed Winston the cat, but we're back. Naturally, being the person that I am, I was put straight on the tills at the front. So customer service all day, every day. And it got to a point where I got into so much trouble because I was holding up the queue having a really deep conversation with this lady, and she was telling me what she was getting her grandkids for Christmas. And it just got like, it was a really deep conversation. She was saying that she doesn't think it's enough and it's been a difficult year. And there's like 6 people waiting in the queue to be served, and I'm just like really taking it all in. And so my shifts were mainly from 2 p.m. until 11 p.m. Because I was there all day, I'm going to speak to someone. I'm not going to stand there in silence the whole day like that. It actually kills me. So small talk just became a thing. And they have this thing that I realized when you're a cashier and when you only you see these people for maybe a few minutes a day, every now and again they drop like lore from their families because they could trust you, you know? You sort them out with the cigarettes, you sort them out with their money, sort them out with their food, you know, you sort out the petrol. You just become like this beacon of trust in the village. And yeah, you learn a lot about a lot of people. Does everyone like my beanie as well? I picked it up a few days ago. And she scanned it and she was like, oh my gosh, this was on our 70% off section. I didn't put it in there. And I was like, 70% off? So I can't do maths, but it's £5 now. So I saved some cash on that, which was nice. And the village that I live in is got a reputation for being quite sophisticated. There's some really nice houses in the area. We're on the river. It's really beautiful. It's stunning. It's like incredible in the summer. And with that, you expect that there's an expectation that the people who live in a village, so beautiful and so lovely, are just pretty chilled. Nothing really happens, nothing really goes on. I got the job at the petrol station and I thought to myself, there's not going to be that much drama because loads of people are retired. It's really quiet, nothing really happens. I mean, yeah, I wasn't expecting much from it. That's when I realized that shoplifting is quite a big deal and happens quite a lot. I mean, shoplifting was literally just out of control. It was insane. And it got to the point where we just didn't know what to do to kind of stop it. I mean, the company that we worked for didn't have security. So it kind of just came down to us whether we acted on it or we didn't. If someone's shoplifting, you can't actually approach them or touch them because then they can sue you for assault. So it was very interesting in trying to prevent shoplifting in the store that I worked in because you actually couldn't do anything other than just stand there and shout at them, which was quite entertaining and really embarrassing when you stuttered and the whole store was like watching you defend your company, your name, everything, and then you can't even get your words out. I remember trying to chase this guy around the store because he had stolen a bag of lemons and he was about 16 years old and you could tell that he was terrified. You just know when someone's going to steal something. I remember one time I was stood with my manager and I just said, you know what, I've actually had enough. I need to go to the shoplifter who was busy stealing loads of chicken. I need to go up to him and I need to say, listen, I need to put the chicken back because we need to sell that and there's people in the store who are paying full price for it. And my manager didn't want to at the time. She was like, you know what, you've got this all, you can go do it. And I was filled with so much adrenaline. I was just like, I need to make my feelings known. I need to make my feelings known. So I walk up to this guy and he's crouched down and he's like shoveling all this chicken. And I'm like, mate, can you please put the chicken back? And obviously he's like flow state. He's like shoveling the stuff in the bag and he's just going for it. And I can't like approach him. So I stood there and I was like, mate, sorry, can you put the chicken back? And he was not having any of it. So I very casually like walked round and just tried to like close the door, because it was one of those sliding doors. And I tried to like just close the door like on his hand to get him to leave, and just to like, I was like, you need to just put the chicken back, please. I kid you not, this guy stands up and he's like 6'4". He's got a glass eye looking in the other direction, massive backpack, like beanie, face mask, everything. And I literally was just like, I am not paid enough to be dealing with this right now. He was walking forward towards the door and I just walked with him. And I was like, I just kept saying like, can you put the chicken back? Is that like, let's have a conversation about it. Like, let's put the chicken back and we can go on about our days. And he just walked straight out. And because like, what am I supposed to do in that situation? Like, I can't defend myself. I've done as much as I can, but that was it. Nice, because you felt secure behind the till. So you had like the till and then these big see-through screens in front of me. And that gave me like the sense of safety and security. I was like, I'm behind the screen. Like no one can reach over and like grab me. Like I'm perfectly fine and safe. For this guy shoplifting, he ran out with like, I don't know, 2 cases of beer. And he runs out to his car. Guy comes up to me, and I think they were so drunk they thought that they had shoplifted really like smoothly, but he literally just picked up the beer and walked out. So I said to his mate, I was like, mate, you're gonna have to bring that beer back in because you've just shoplifted. Quite a big man, bald, like full sleeve of tattoos. That screen I think saved me that night. He's looking at me and he's like you what? Like questioning me. And I was like, no, like we've literally just seen your friend take the beer straight from the fridge, you need to bring it back. And he was not having any of it. And the thing is, he had just got a Cornish pasty or something. And he's looking at me and he's walking off and he's like screaming all this stuff, like he was bringing up my mother. And I was just like, he was so angry that I'd accused him of shoplifting when he had. Anyway, he just lunges this Cornish pasty at me. And I'm just stood at the till, like just waiting literally for the next customer. And this Cornish pasty comes flying at me and hits the screen and just like slides down. And to be fair, the aim was perfect. If the screen was not there, he would have literally bullseye, like full on. But all I did was just like step to the side of it, and I was like, mate, like what are you doing? And honestly, he was so embarrassed because I think he was so drunk he didn't see the screen was there. But I was just like, you've literally just thrown this Cornish pasty at me and like it's done nothing. Like what are you trying to do? We ended up getting the beers back. The friend felt so guilty that he had done it in like plain sight that he brought them back. And that was all sorted. What I loved about the petrol station though is that over time you got to know people so well. It was incredible. You just got to know people on such a deeper level, even though you're having a conversation a few minutes every day, if not that. And this lady who I knew from the petrol station lived a few doors down and was busy unloading her car and was like, oh my gosh, Amy, like, how are you? And I was like, yeah, really good, thanks. Just had like a nice shift, heading home. And she's like, well, have you had lunch? Like, do you want to come in and have some lunch? Like, I'm literally just about to put like a cheese board out and maybe have a glass of wine. Best decision. Okay, also only do this safely. Like, only know who you're actually talking to. I mean, I knew this lady quite well from the petrol station, knew that, you know, she wasn't a bad person. So ended up just going to her house for lunch. And like, this is a customer that I'd met through the petrol station, and now we're sitting in a garden, sipping a glass of wine, having this massive cheese and cracker board for lunch, just chatting about life. And it was amazing. And you know what? I never saw her again after that. Apparently she moved, we lost, like, it was just, but it was that moment that I was just like, this is what it's all about, you know? You're getting to meet new people. I wasn't stupid though. I knew who was nice and who wasn't, and I knew when it was a situation that was getting a little bit weird. Another guy that I met, he, I'm not gonna say his name, but he came in one day at like 10 p.m. So the later it got when you worked a shift, the weirder the people. It wasn't weird, but he walked in and he was in a full body wetsuit. In the middle of winter, full body wetsuit, dripping. Like he had literally just gotten out the river. And it's like pitch black dark in the middle of winter, freezing cold, like -degrees. I think he got just like a can of Coke, and he walked up to the till, and like my colleague was behind him with like a wet floor sign and like literally just cleaning up after him. So I was like, I'm just asking, I'm just curious, like you're in a full body wetsuit, it's the middle of winter and you are soaked to the bone. Where have you come from? And he was like, oh my gosh, I do kayaking on the river. And we just had like an evening session. And I was like, okay, that sounds kind of cool. So he was like, Saturday morning, you need to come down to the river and we'll put you in a kayak and we can start, like we need to start kayaking. There's a whole club, it's a whole group. You just need to give it a go. And I sat there and I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, sounds nice. But, you know, I worked until 11. Getting up early on a Saturday to get into the river in winter was not ideal. Not something that I really wanted to do. But I did it anyway because I was like, one life, gotta live it, you know? I've got to stick to my morals. So I did. And it was, I think, the most incredible experience that I've ever had. Every Saturday, we'd go down, kayak on the river. I then became a part of like the local club. I was entered into my first race, which I won, which was amazing, felt really great. I was absolutely shattered and someone took a really, really bad photo of me kayaking and I did not look happy whatsoever. But it was it opened the doors to a whole nother community that I just wasn't really exposed to. And it was just a really cool experience. I stopped because I then went traveling, and then when I came back it was winter again and I just wasn't feeling it. But it was still the people who I'd met and just taking that opportunity was in front of me. I could have easily just said, no, you know what, I'm okay, thanks, I'm not gonna do it. But in doing that, I met new people, I started a sport that I've never tried before, and it's not like kayaking, it's like marathon kayaking, so it's like the long, really thin boats, and then literally just like, it's a whole load of twisty movements, and it's kind of embarrassing when I started. But I met so many people, a whole nother community, and it was just really fun to do that on Saturdays and then, you know, go off to a race, and I really enjoyed it. And I think that changed my mind in the sense of there are good people out there who just will open doors for you, and there's opportunity there, and you just need to take it, you just need to do it, because you just have absolutely no idea who you're going to meet and what you're going to do. So my confidence literally just skyrocketed through this job. I was forced to communicate with people. I was forced to kind of like put myself out there, start conversation, get to know people. And it was a really, really nice opportunity for me to kind of just get to know the village. There were moments of the petrol station that were really difficult. I had some really hard days. And being a young late teenager working at a petrol station really late at night meant that things were going to happen and people were going to take advantage of that, and people were going to be a little bit weird and see kind of how much they could test you. The police were called a couple of times for a few instances where people were waiting for me to finish my shift in the forecourt, which is like where the parking is. I'd been followed home once. People had come way too close to me while I was on the shop floor and just kind of taken advantage of there's suddenly no barrier. But I think it was all like a learning experience. I think it taught me how to stand up for myself. It taught me when to say that this isn't right and this shouldn't be happening. And it gave me the confidence in knowing that what I stand for is what I stand for. And it taught me to really hold on to my morals and know that not everyone out there has really good intentions. Just believing that there's always going to be good people out there and there's always going to be bad people out there. And you've just got to go with it, pretty much. You've just got to trust yourself and you've got to trust your decision making, and you know, you've got to be able to stand up for yourself and say, this isn't right, I'm not having any of this. We're going to stop it right here. Talk to a trusted adult. Trusted is really important, because I spoke to adults, wasn't taken seriously. Shout out to my manager, because that was great. Only a few fights in the time that I was at the petrol station. A lot of people were either like really drunk and disagreed with either the manager that was on the shop floor, bless him, or they would have fights together, like in the forecourt. Like there were these two guys one time that were having a complete brawl over, like, with each other, and we couldn't get involved. Like we kind of just sat and watched it. The guy in the red t-shirt won. He did such a good punch. It's actually insane. So I learned a lot from this job, as you can imagine. But I think the biggest things that I took away from it were, don't think because you're in a situation that you don't want to be in, you can't learn from it. At first, I was like, I'm working at a petrol station. Like, what am I doing? Like, there's no opportunity for me here, in the sense of I'm just stuck behind a till the whole day, every day. I don't know where this is gonna go. I changed my mindset to be like, what can I learn from this? What can I gain from this job? What can I take away? And then I was looking at the connections that I was making with people. I was having such a laugh with the people that I worked with. It's not somewhere that I wanted to be forever, but I kind of decided that I can either learn as much as I can from this job and take away all the good things and the good memories and really just make an effort in making it fun and enjoyable for myself, rather than coming in and sulking and ruining the whole day for everyone. Like, I quickly realized that I was in control of my mood, and my mood is obviously going to affect the person I'm serving. When you're served by someone who's in a really good mood and is really chatty, it actually just changes the whole experience. And like, to be fair, I just really enjoyed it. Like, I really just love talking to people. So it changed it from, oh, I'm going to work, I'm working behind a till at a petrol station, life sucks, to, oh my gosh, I get to see this person again today. I get to see this person. I really hope this person comes in because I have an update on like the sports game that we were chatting about. It was really nice because I built connections with people and I built on it, and it suddenly became like I would go to work really excited because I didn't know who I was going to see and I didn't know what conversations I was going to have. Last thing that I learned from this job, and I've actually learned from every job that I've worked in so far, and that has not been many, but every job I've worked at, I have learned that you don't actually know who you're speaking to, especially if you're in a village or if you're working in a customer serving role face-to-face with customers. You don't know who you're speaking to. And that, I mean, it's a beautiful thing, but it's a terrifying thing. Most of the opportunities that I've gained over the past 3 years, which I'll go into at some point, has been because of a customer link. So at the petrol station, I got to know people who I then suddenly knew at my second job. My second job, I was talking to people who now got me to my third job. It's like invisible string. You don't know who knows each other. You don't know what's going on, and you don't know who people are. You don't know where they work. You don't know who they've met. You don't know their status. You don't know anything. So it's just be super nice to absolutely everyone and make a good impression, because at the end of the day, you don't know how they're connected. The amount of times I'd be having a conversation with someone and someone else would be brought up, which I know from a previous, it was just insane. So especially at such a young age, like early 20s, going into conversation and going into meeting people with the knowledge of knowing you actually don't know who this person is and you don't know if you're going to meet them again in the future, has proven to be such a good mindset to have, because I've bumped into people a few years later who've really helped me out, and it all came down to how I treated them when I first met them and their first impression of me, which I think is really important, and I think everyone can take into their lives at any point, really, is just when you're meeting people for the first time, you don't know anything about them. So it's really good to have a really good first impression with everyone, because the people that I thought wouldn't really be helping me out in the future or I wouldn't be seeing again always came up. And it was, it was really important that for me, I had made a first good impression, no matter who they were, no matter how they treated me. If you hit them with kindness, that will come back to you in more ways than you can imagine, and it'll all be good. Hopefully. So if you got to the end of this, you're an absolute saint. If you haven't subscribed, I completely understand. And if you could just give it maybe a thumbs up or a thumbs down, let me know in the comments what you're feeling. I appreciate any feedback. Don't be too mean, because I am quite sensitive, but I'll take it. Strong soldier right here. Got to the end of this, please actually let me know, because you deserve a gold star. Because I don't think many people will actually watch this full video, and that's completely fine. But yeah, thank you all. Hope you have a really great rest of your weekend. See you in the next video. 26 minutes, you're joking.